And this is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios. Here's Greg Matzek and Gary Ellerson.
A fourth quarter collapse, an icy handshake, and F the Packers ringing out in the Bears locker room. It's our final show, and Gary is drunk on emotion after a tough loss here for the Packers, maybe a historic loss for the Packers in Chicago against the rival Bears on Saturday night. Welcome in. It's our final Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, broadcasting from the beautiful Potawatomi Sportsbook. He is the beautiful Gary Ellerson. I'm Greg Matzek. Happy to have you along. We're going to kind of go old school on this program, Gary, because of a phone call you made to me last night.
At about what time?
Well, the first phone call came through at about, 5 minutes after 5, and I was settling into my daughter's futsal game. But I called you back. And what did you tell me? What did you say?
Greg, we need to open this up for the people.
Well, we do.
They need therapy. This is it. They've got a lot to say, and let's hear from them. And you know what? I'm not afraid to hear from Bear fans, too, because we've been kicking your butt for 40 years. So I'm sure you got a lot to say as well. So I'm welcoming all things Packer and Bears.
Well, one thing is very clear. Bears fans don't know how to handle success at all, right? That seems very clear, much as the same as the Detroit Lions over the last couple of years. You know, on last week's program, I had said, Gary, I think the Packers need to score 30 points to win this game.
Yeah.
And when it was 21-3, I was thinking, well, the Packers are very much going to score 30 points in this game. I still believe, you get to that 30 mark, it feels like a magical number. I don't think the Bears get to 31 if the Packers get to 30. You know what I'm saying? But it felt like it was going to be that kind of game going in. We will get to people's phone calls, reactions, discussions of Matt LaFleur. I want to spend just a little bit of time here on what all went wrong and try and figure out why as part of our larger, broader discussion. Anytime we talk about keys to victory, what are the things that we mentioned? Did you start spouting off the top of your head? Things you have to do in the NFL in order to win a football game. What do you have to do?
Well, I think turnovers is probably number one, and you want those in your favor, obviously. Probably good quarterback play, which provides turnovers, and defense. You're looking at your defense to, if you can, to hold your opponent under 20 points. Those are probably keys to the game, but most importantly, turnovers.
Okay, all right. So here we go. If we're talking about all these things going into the game, turnovers. Packers won the turnover differential. Bears turned it over twice, including what I thought was going to be a game-wrecking interception pulled in by Tyron Hopper. The Bears were able to rise above it. Was the Bears' defense great on Saturday night? Definitely not in the first half. Certainly better in the second half. But hemorrhaging yards, Jordan Love had himself a pretty good night. They were able to overcome that. Playoff football, Gary. Get off to a fast start, right? Well, Bears certainly didn't do that, yet they found a way to win the game. Outstanding quarterback play? Well, certainly there were moments when Caleb Williams looked every bit the part of a number one pick. But he also had, roughly a 50% completion percentage. Balls were sailing over people out of bounds. The interceptions I talked about. The recipe for a playoff win. The Bears did everything on the opposite end of that spectrum, right? How to win a football game, the Bears gave you every reason to lose a football game. But the one thing the Bears clearly have this year that the Packers clearly did not is that ability to just keep going and keep fighting. Forget about the scoreboard. How did I know the Packers were in trouble? Because the Bears were down double digits in the fourth quarter, right? I mean, that is a Bears recipe for a victory because they do not give up. They do not let up. It might be clunky. It may not look pretty getting to that fourth quarter, but it all hit zeros, and you're looking at a win. So it renders Jordan Love's first-half performance and the defense's first-half performance, limiting Chicago to field goals, brilliant offensive game plan. It renders all that meaningless because the Bears are the team moving on, because they are the hardest team in the NFL to officially squash. And that's the nicest thing I'll say about the Bears, probably in the rest of my life.
Yeah, I will say this, Greg. I think it's more about the Packers than anything else. And of course, and the Bears have won this way all year long. Give them credit. But I think from the Packers standpoint, I'm going to go with Quay Walker. I think he had a interview where he said something to the fact that this has been happening before I came here. the Packers losing the way they've been losing. And if you just sit back and think about that, he's right. I don't know if you can think about the big monumental first loss of the Green Bay Packers that you can remember.
The first one is Owens!
Right? That's one.
Right.
Go back even further than that. You can, and that will be...
What am I missing?
The Denver Broncos.
In the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
There you go. It's a good one.
Were they like a 13, 14-point
prohibitive
favorite in that game? Everybody thought that was locked. So if you just start, like if you were just in your mind start remembering when the Packers had these monumental failures where they should have won. And I hate doing that because that's Brett Favre, that's my good friend Leroy Butler, and that's Reggie White.
Yeah, but they choked.
Yes.
They were drinking the Kool-Aid all week long.
Walker was a historian, and he is absolutely 100% true. He goes, this has been happening to the Packers before I got here. I mean, if you talk to Packer fans, they would say we should have won at least 2 Super Bowls with Brett Favre. They would say we should have won at least 2 Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers. And you can go through all the monumental defeats with Mike Sherman, with Mike McCarthy, and now under Matt LaFleur, where they have just given games away. The Tampa Bay game, right? That's a big one at Lambeau Field. How did that happen? That special teams had something to do with that, but
Kevin King had something to do with that.
I think we had 2 interceptions in that game by Tom Brady. Did nothing with it. Of course, the Seattle game, right? That was another big one that sticks out in a lot of people's mind. I think, here's my thing. Here's what I'm getting to. It's not just about Matt LaFleur. I think the organization itself has to look within itself. Is Matt LaFleur a product of this? Yes. Is Brian Gutekunst a product of this? Yes. Is Mark Murphy is a product of all this? Yes, he is. I think the Packers organization as a whole have to look into all these failures that they have had before LaFleur, because it's all the same. It's all the same. It's all the heartbreaking where we couldn't close the door. And I can't tell you why, but that is something that's keep repeating itself through other coaches, through other GMs.
No doubt. I mean, you are conditioned as a Packers fan, and I would argue even a Wisconsin sports fan, right?
Okay, you can.
But the painful loss. I mean, you left out 4th and 26, and that for a number of teams could be the most painful loss in franchise history.
Yes.
For that franchise, whatever the franchise is. Insert franchise name here. So, yes, I'm with you, Gary. I've seen a number of these games that seemingly are going the right way, and then it turns on a dime, and it doesn't. And there have been some blowout losses, too. The Packers weren't as good as Atlanta in the NFC Championship game with Aaron Rodgers one year. They were nowhere near as good as the San Francisco 49ers, again with Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback. Raheem Mostert ran for 300 yards.
Who were the head coaches then?
Well, right. I mean, it's transcended coaching staff.
Right.
It's transcended
But everybody wants to go after Matt LaFleur. That's my point. You can name all these games, which has been great, but with different coaches, with different GMs. It's the same thing. So it's not just like it just happening to Matt LaFleur. Packer fans have been dealing with this for a long time. Now, I'm not going to cry about this because we've had great success for over 40 years. But most certainly, we've been snake bitten where we should have won games that we threw away, and it's not just really about Matt LaFleur. It's about a lot of other people within this organization. This organization need to do a deep dive within itself. Most certainly, Matt LaFleur is a part of that.
There's a lot of coaching discussion happening right now because you got Jeff Hafley, who is scheduled to interview with 5 teams. That could end up being more, but 5 teams on the list right now, including Miami, where they have poached one of Brian Gutekunst's right-hand man, John Eric Sullivan, now the general manager in Miami. Certainly familiar with everything happening in Green Bay. You've got a defensive coordinator situation. You've got a potential change at special teams where Rich Bisaccia certainly didn't put his best foot forward. I know his job isn't to make kicks, but his job is to make sure there are 11 men on the field.
Yeah,
there should be 11 men on the field. In that final PAT, there was not, as the Bears kicked their 31st point in that game on Saturday night. just kind of a disaster aside of the punting situation in Green Bay. Special teams been a disaster going on the better part of a decade now. And I think it has more to do with the talent that's on the field than, overall the coordinator. But nevertheless, Rich Bisaccia could end up being a scapegoat here if Matt LaFleur does hang on to his job. We are going to open the phone calls for phone calls here coming up after we talk to Wilde. Wilde's going to join us coming up in just a few minutes. I am in the camp of Matt LaFleur should be back. And I went into the postseason thinking Matt LaFleur's job was safe. It was not something I was overly concerned with, and I know there was a lot of back and forth, and they're a 7 seed for the third straight season. Look, I didn't buy into that rhetoric for a number of different reasons, which I'll outline. But after the way they lost, the manner in which the Packers lost Saturday night, I had to go back and take a look at it. I had to reevaluate my own thoughts. I don't know if Ed Policy did, but I certainly did. I think a lot of Packers fans did as well. But my ultimate conclusion, I think Matt LaFleur should be back as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. And I hope Jeff Hafley is there with him. We'll see how things pan out over the next few weeks. We will talk to Jason Wilde coming up on the other side. Then we do want to hear from you. We'll tease you with the phone lines here. It's 800-990-3776 when we do get going. 800-990-3776. Lots of comments here on our social medias. If you're streaming along with us on YouTube, great to have you with us. We'll get to some of those comments as well. Just getting started here. A lot of barf emojis showing up on our YouTube stream. That's funny, right? That little green face barf emoji.
It should be.
Relatable indeed. Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday continues after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. All day, every day. The Carbliss talk and text line is open for you.
First off, there is not one team that's on the fringe that scares me.
800-990-3776. The Carbliss talk and text line. This is more. Stay up to date on the green and gold all season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Real James Imaging Systems clients. You've heard them right here on the radio for years. For instance, Chris Willems, office manager with Previan Law Firm.
I like the fact that the company is local and I can always get a hold of my representative who I have on speed dial or I have a cell phone.
Then there's James Imaging Systems client Preston Clark, who oversees IT services at Creative Business Interiors.
If I do need service, they're here almost within 4 hours every time. I've never had an issue where I'm like, where is that guy?
James Imaging Systems business technology client Lori Salzman, Vice President of Enterprise Services at Junior Achievement of Wisconsin.
I've never met an organization that is so responsive to make sure that we are up and running all the time for us to be more efficient and allow us to focus more on the work that we do for helping young people.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. To learn more, visit jamesimaging.com.
The pursuit of fair wages and top-of-the-line benefits is achieved when the right union has your back. The Sheet Metal Workers Labor Union is extremely diverse, representing Wisconsinites working HVAC, architectural metals, welding, specialty fabrication, and much more. Make great living wages with outstanding benefits, pensions, and apprenticeship programs in trained, safe working environments. The Sheet Metal Workers Union is a leading force in the revitalization of the labor movement in Wisconsin.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin. Wisconsin.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a ball.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Kick off the new year with a smarter home and bigger savings with Exterior Pros and Baths. New windows to lock in the warmth, durable roofing, eye-catching siding, or a stunning bath makeover. Start the year off right and get $3,000 off your project. That's right, $3,000 back in your pocket during our New Year savings event. Call 262-800-4274 or visit extpros.com today. This deal won't last all winter. Exterior Pros and Baths. New year, new home, done right.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Fire Matt LaFleur. That seems to be the overwhelming sentiment here on our YouTube page. If you're streaming along with us, Greg and Gary, it's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday on a Monday. It's one of the worst days. If you're a member of the media covering, if you're a player, if you're a coach, like the locker room cleanout day is just one of the worst days to be in the locker room. And nobody likes it. Nobody wants to be there. You're kind of on eggshells. I talk to him. I'm trying to make it just like an uncomfortable situation here. I'm a little more comfortable. It's an abrupt end of the season. The questions are usually about what happened, what caused the loss, trying to look ahead a little bit, right? It's just not a fun place to be historically.
Well, no, especially when you have a loss like the Packers just had. I mean, they can't explain it. They're shell-shocked. And then from the players' part of it, there's a lot of guys in the locker room don't know if they're going to be a Green Bay Packer this upcoming season. So you have those feelings in there amongst how you lost the game. And then so I think that makes it for an odd type situation. But a lot of people like to talk about this team as a very young team, but I think there's a lot of veterans within that locker room that if you're doing your job like Jason Wilde, I think they will give you the honest of opinion on how they felt that game went about and how was the season. I would say most of those guys in the locker room would tell you that it was a very disappointing season.
A lot of encouraging words for Matt LaFleur coming out of the locker room today, and I get it, right? What player is going to say, I don't want him back? You kidding me? Matt LaFleur is the reason that we lost, why we're standing in this locker room today instead of preparing for the Seattle Seahawks. No, but I could imagine a player saying, hey, I'm just focused on football. Hey, it takes all of us trying to get myself better here, get my body healthy, come back and do this thing again. You can deflect the question without ripping your coach a new one. That has happened before in the NFL. It'll happen again. Let's talk to Wilde here. Wilde and Tausch, 9 to noon on ESPN Wisconsin. Great work online at channel3000.com. A very busy day for Wilde as well. We're thankful he could join us for a few minutes. Hi, Jason.
Hi, guys. Great to be with you and come to the end of a radio day where when you're not calling for Matt LaFleur's head on a silver platter, it makes for a long day because that's not what people want to hear. So they want their pint of blood and his job, and that does not look the way we're trending. So we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. It's not decided yet, but to your point about the locker room, you're exactly right. And again, nuance. I understand some folks have trouble with nuance. Some of the full-throated, very strong messages of support today are more than just, I have to say I like my coach because he might be back next year and so might I. And to your point, there, including Rasheed Walker, there were definitely some guys that did not deliver overly strong endorsements. So you know that there are some guys that don't feel as strongly as others. But the guys that I think really matter the most, Tucker Kraft, Xavier McKinney, Micah Parsons, I think those guys left no doubt on where they stand. And some of the other guys, you could probably see why they might not be quite as adamant. including Sheed, who I don't think he's going to be back. I think he's going to be somebody else's left tackle next year, and he deserves whatever he gets there. So it was definitely, it wasn't as awkward as it could have been. It was certainly better than the visitors' locker room on Saturday night. Now that I did not enjoy.
Jason, you had mentioned, I was listening to a lot of the post-game coverage following the game, and even a little today, and you'd mentioned you don't know how Matt LaFleur survives the kind of loss. The manner with which the Packers lost on Saturday night was the ultimate gut punch. And if his position as head coach going into the playoffs felt a little solid, or more solid than not, coming out of this postseason the way they lost, it appears to you it felt like, wow, this is no longer stable ground. Do you feel any differently now than you did when you were doing post-game shows on Saturday night?
Yeah, I do, but again, when I said that, like, that wasn't me saying he should be fired. That was me saying, because again, there's certainly people that have staked out that ground, and they're entitled to that. I don't have a strong feeling either way. Like, if they fired him, I would totally understand. And then keeping him, while it's not popular with fans, I totally understand that too. My point was the manner in which they lost, that felt like the kind of thing that gets you fired, period. It doesn't matter if your name is Mike Sherman or Mike McCarthy or Matt LaFleur or Ray Rhodes. To lose with those stakes against that team, to lose that way, that felt like he's going to have a hard time overcoming this. 5 consecutive losses to end the season. But I would say that Ed Policy, which again, and I've said this, and Craig and I talked about it on Sunday Karma yesterday, like, the easy thing is to do what everybody wants. Yeah, let's fire him. We'll find somebody else. We're the Packers. We always get it right, which is not always true, but they may think that way. That's the easy thing. The hard thing is when Ed Policy is going to have to stand up in front of us, and we're going to have to ask a bunch of questions about, look, your fan base really wanted you. We're really hoping you were going to move on from this guy. Help us understand why you didn't. Those are the harder questions. Like, if Matt LaFleur's press conference yesterday had been canceled because he had been fired, there would be so many Packers fans. I would disagree with them, but again, they're entitled to their opinion, who would have been celebrating. And that's not going to be the case if they end up working out an extension and he ends up staying. I don't think this is going to be some sort of Matt LaFleur gets a 4-year contract extension and he's under contract for the next 5 years. I think if they're going to work something out, he's going to get a bump in his pay. He's going to get another 2 years added on, so he'll be under contract, not guaranteeing he'll serve out all those years, for 26, 27, and 28. And we'll see if that ends up being right or wrong.
Here's my whole thing of it, and I may go back too far, but I saw a quote that Quay Walker had, which I'm going off of. And it says, well, he said that this has been happening to the Packers before I got here, meaning the losses that they sustained. And I said to myself, when I read that, I don't know if you saw that or not, Jason, but when I read that, I went, he's right. And so I went, and this may not be in the same category, but if you think about the losses, the Denver Broncos lost, that was a big loss, and that wasn't Matt LaFleur, right? I mean, you can name some Mike Sherman's loss, and that wasn't Matt LaFleur. You can name some losses that Mike McCarthy had, and that wasn't Matt LaFleur. I just think when he said that to me, and you start thinking about all these losses that were monumental that they had, I think it may be more than just Matt LaFleur. I think it may be more of a organizational deal with the Packers. I think they all need to re-examine in how they have built this team and what has taken place moving forward. Now, I'm not saying Matt LaFleur is excused from what has been happening, but it feels like some of the same things have been happening under different coaches.
Yeah, and look, there's certainly a reason to have the opinion that they have failed in some spectacular fashion in really important moments, in really important games. There's no two ways about that. I get it. That's a fair critique. Again, I don't think Quay, before he became a Packer, was paying a whole lot of attention to Packers history. I know this. He was on the his rookie year was 22, and they didn't even make the playoffs. 23, they outkicked their coverage and reached the playoffs in Jordan's first year and won a game. Last year, they obviously lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions, and their quarterback turned the ball over 3 times through 3 picks. On Saturday night, Jordan Love was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. And their defense gave up 25 points in the fourth quarter. And again, Matt LaFleur is the head of the whole thing. So let's be honest about that. Their offense did not do much in the first 4 possessions of the second half. And it wasn't like he went into a shell because he threw the ball a ton because they couldn't run the damn ball. And so, is the criticism, I love Jeff Hafley, but it was his defense that couldn't get a stop in the fourth quarter, right?
Yes.
I think that my challenge with this, and again, nuance is never fun because it's easier to say, this is the reason why they lost and this guy needs to be fired or whatever.
Right.
But there's so much blame to go around. I mean, in talking with Jaden Reed today and talking with Christian Watson today, they both said something that has been completely ignored by the fan base, which is both of them had catchable balls on the final drive that they should have caught and would have won the game, right? I mean, look, I think Watson's was really difficult. Reed said he didn't sleep all night, and I believe him. Like, those are plays that we're like, oh, my God, I can't believe they blew the lead, but, hey, they found a way at the end, right? And then we're getting ready for Seattle. So, again, there's so much blame to go around, and I understand, like Harry S. Truman, the buck stops with the head coach. But, man, oh, man, there's a lot of people that let Green Bay Packers fans down, and I hope Packers fans can at least recognize that.
A lot of missed kicks as well from Brandon McManus. That was certainly stands out.
I didn't even mention that. Yes.
Can I get to it?
It's just a mess, right? I mean, it's just like you feel like you solved the Anders Carlson issue here, and like, well, no, veteran kicker, used to kicking in cold weather, right? He's got the track record, the resume, and just came up flat on 3 occasions. So, I mean, that's incredibly disheartening when you talk about how this game finished. You mentioned potential terms for an extension for Matt LaFleur, Jason. Does Goody's mirror that, not in terms of dollars, but in nowhere have I heard any discussion about Brian Gutekunst's future, but he also is approaching that lame duck status, and policy wants to get guys out of that lame duck world. So if he keeps Matt LaFleur, my guess is he keeps Goody. My guess is he keeps Goody regardless. But similar terms in terms of years, like are they tied together that way?
I don't know, because the other part of this potentially is that Ed Policy decides to restore the previous setup with Ted Thompson and Ron Wolf, where the general manager is in charge of the head coach's employment. And then, he could get a 5-year extension. Again, he's another one that I'm sorry. I think he's a good GM. I am not saying in any way that he's a bad general manager. But I don't think he's as good as some Packers fans proclaim him to be, and he seems to skate when it comes to criticism a hell of a lot more than the head coach does.
I just don't think that this is a foregone conclusion that Matt LaFleur is going to get a deal done here. I mean,
I don't. Hey, Gary,
that's above
you're right. Like, there's still a lot to be decided there. Like, what does he want? Like, how many? Like, is he? Like, I would say this: in the very least, he did not help his negotiating position with the outcome of Saturday night's game. So, is he gonna get top dollar? I would, if it was me, right? And I think I do an okay job at my job. But if it was me and I had a moment like that, and then I have to negotiate a contract, I have a hard time going in and saying I want to be paid more than Ben Johnson. I want to be paid more than Kyle Shanahan. Like, I'm going to say, I'm in the $8 to $9 million range right now. I would, if I get $13 million a year and we extend it by 2 years, I'm going to take that and then bet on myself and say, when I win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to pay me more. But if this becomes a hardball negotiation, this is definitely not out of the woods. Let's leave it at that.
No, and 100%, that's where I was going. Because if you really think about this, if he balks at whatever that deal is with the Packers, he's one of the top coaches that'll be up for one of these 7 jobs that are available, and he can make all the money. I mean, that's just a fact. Because somebody's going to overpay for somebody. Head coaches right now are tough to find, and he'd be at the top of the list if it doesn't work out for him in Green Bay.
Couldn't agree more, Gary, which is exactly where I always want to end our conversation.
Always good to connect. Much more on this. It's going to be a busy, very interesting week here in Green Bay. No doubt about that as the playoffs continue, but sadly not for the Green Bay Packers. Check out Wilde and Tausch tomorrow, 9 to noon, and all week. Really make it a daily thing for yourself and Jason's outstanding work online at channel3000.com. Wilde, it's our last show. Jelly's Last Jam, as Gary wanted to call this program, officially titled. We appreciate all your contributions throughout the course of the year, man.
Thank you, buddy.
It's not a show unless you're a part of it, so thank you so much.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
Yep, you do the same. Jason Wilde joining us here. We thank him so much for all contributions throughout the course of the program. All right, got a lot of people on our YouTube stream wondering. All right, I still haven't heard a good reason for why you want Matt LaFleur back. I'll give you my reasons coming up on the other side. This was not an easy thing to arrive at because I kind of went through everything Packers fans were going through as well Saturday night. Not sleeping, trying to figure out what the heck happened. Is this just who the Packers are under Matt LaFleur? Is there a larger issue here that points directly to the coach? Or no? And what about the success he has achieved? You can't ignore that as part of the discussion. And who's a suitable replacement? All key parts of the discussion. We will also open up the phone lines here. We do not typically do this here on the program, but I think it's important to get your voice on this program as well, and so does Gary. 800-990-3776 if you'd like to chime in. 800-990-3776. Plenty more to get to on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Back with more on the Green and Gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Hey Tom, I want a new hoop for the kids. Any ideas?
Yeah, I got mine from Precision Sports over 10 years ago. They helped me choose the right hoop, installed it, and even painted my court lines.
Nice. How do I reach them?
Easy. PrecisionSportsOnline.com for a free quote.
When winter hits Wisconsin hard, Safe Plow hits back. Founded by 2 locals who know winter inside and out, Safe Plow delivers no-tolerance snow removal, meaning they're on it before, during, and after every storm for hospitals, retail centers, and all businesses that can't afford downtime. From small driveways to massive parking lots, Safe Plow's dedicated team keeps your property clear, safe, and accessible, prioritizing handicap ramps and disabled parking every time. At Safe Plow, they handle the blizzard, you handle your business. Serving Madison, Milwaukee, and all of southeastern Wisconsin. Book now at safeplow.com.
Homer here with a message about 3 Pillars Senior Living Communities located on a serene setting along the Bark River on 300 gorgeous acres. 3 Pillars Senior Living Communities is a top-ranked full continuum community. Active adult, independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, and rehab. 3 Pillars, the hands-down choice for you or your loved one. Been there. Know people who live there. They love it. You gotta go to Dousman and see it in person. Get all the info on 3 Pillars at 3pillars.org.
This is Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, letting you know that Siding Unlimited installs Pella windows and doors. That's right, Siding Unlimited installs windows, and we do it really well, earning the prestigious Pella Platinum Premier National Certified Contractor of the Year award 5 times. New windows, our expert team will deliver on a smooth, hassle-free installation, making you feel proud of calling Siding Unlimited for your window project. What's the next step? Call 262-567-4513 or go to sidingunlimited.com.
No look behind the back to Kone, who rises up, throws it down.
Siku Kone and the Milwaukee Panthers men's basketball team take on Oakland this Thursday. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. at Panther Arena. From clutch three-pointers to rim-rattling dunks to game-changing blocks, you'll experience all the action. Ticket prices start at just $23. Help tilt the floor this Thursday at 6. Visit mkepanthers.com for tickets. Panther Athletics for the MKE.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA and founder of the Neal Group and best-selling author on how to have less stress with the IRS. If 2025 didn't go exactly as planned, you're not alone. You made it through, and that's what counts. Now it's time for taxes, and for a lot of people, that's when the stress kicks in. especially if things got messy along the way. The good news, a rough year doesn't mean a ruined future. We helped Nate fix a tax mess with the IRS caused by one of those national firms and saved him $103,000 in penalties, plus another $152,000 in taxes because we know the tax law. Imagine walking into tax season with a clear plan and someone in your corner who knows the tax law and knows how to use it. You earned it, we help you keep it. Call us now at 414-325-2040 to arrange a meeting to see how we can help you. Don't wait, call now. That's 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net.
Kyle Brust-Norman's Ben Brust here for Grimal and Associates Insurance. They do what anyone with a growing family, like myself, does. Protect what matters most. Grimal and Associates specializes in coverage that's tailored exactly to you. Clients aren't just policies, they're part of their community. Personalized American Family Insurance back service, expert guidance, and genuine commitment. Grimal and Associates focuses on building trusted relationships and providing peace of mind. The same values they've had for over 30 years in the Milwaukee area. Connect with Grimal and Associates at teamgrimal.com.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
Yeah, I think that's something that we harp on all the time, and it's that next play mentality. You can't live with what has happened, and what has happened doesn't have any bearing on what's going to happen next. So you've got to learn how to handle success and failure in the same vein and just move on to the next play.
That could have been a soundbite from the preseason, for all I know, right? I mean, it all kind of sounds like coach speak, but I get that. Matt LaFleur wants to be back in Green Bay. Outlined the reasons for it. Micah Parsons stumping for him in the locker room today. Went on for about a minute and 45 seconds. We'll play that for you coming up in a little bit, saying that Matt LaFleur is one of the reasons I came to Green Bay. Like, this offense can hum with that guy as their head coach, and the defense certainly was taking steps in the right direction. They were fast. They were physical at most points throughout the season, and then Parsons goes down and they can't recover. They just simply cannot recover from the loss of their all-everything defensive player. 800-990-3776 if you'd like to join us here on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Let's check in with Jason in Minnesota. I think the first ever caller to this program. Jason, you're making history tonight. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Happy to be making history. Speaking of history, I want to address LaFleur and Gutekunst both. You guys must think that Matt LaFleur is an historically good coach. Now, granted, those first two seasons with Rodgers as an MVP, he was. However, since Rodgers was playing at the MVP level, Matt LaFleur is 37, 30, and 1. And you guys both think he should be hired back. Now, speaking of history, there has been exactly 0 coaches in the NFL who have gone 7 seasons with the team, not winning a Super Bowl, to stay with that team and win a Super Bowl. So you guys somehow think we should bring him back because he's going to beat the trend of history. Now, that is just what it is. I feel like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I think we've seen everything we need to see. Now, is it just Matt LaFleur? No, it's never one thing. Let's talk about Brian Gutekunst for a minute. There have been some major swings and misses in drafting, okay, especially in the early rounds, right? His mojo is late round picks. However, he is obsessed with this relative athletic score, and if he says he doesn't use that exact thing, they have their metric that are equivalent to that. Instead of picking tried and true good football players, he seems to think he's got this special sauce where he can identify athletes that aren't proven football players, and then he can shape them into becoming football players. But the Packers as an organization, being draft and develop, do not really develop. They don't want to pay their coaches top dollar. Their assistant coaches, top dollar. They're cheapskates. In life, you generally get what you pay for. And if you're unwilling to pay for premium coaching talent, how are these guys going to develop in the way that you need to compensate for Gutekunst going after these high relative athletic score guys who are not proven football commodities? I mean, he has inexplicably passed on some people, like Watt as an example and Cooper DeJean as an example. The list goes on and on and on. And I just don't know why you guys want LaFleur back. Like, it's
well,
just,
let me ask you this.
We've seen
hang on one second now.
Three things.
T.J. Watt was Ted Thompson's final draft, by the way. The Kevin King T.J. Watt thing wasn't good.
But three things here.
You're right.
And this for everybody that are listening, if you want to call in. If you want to call in and you want Matt LaFleur gone, who do you want as your next head coach? Who do you want as your next hold on. Who do you want your next head coach, and who do you want as your next general manager? You got a name for me?
I don't have the answers to that question. I don't think Harbaugh, since he won the big one, has had an impressive record. He's just a tick better than LaFleur has been. I don't know, Gary. But it's, to me, to extend him, it just seems tragic. Like, on the one hand, we've got the window open that right now. Love is at his prime. Parsons is at his prime. There are these pieces in place. And when you go into a rebuild and you gamble with some other regime, you're going to have a setback for a year, probably.
Do you think the Packers should take a chance on some random offensive coordinator that hadn't been the head coach? Or do you feel like the Packers are ready to go right now and they need a proven veteran head coach to hire? What do you think?
I'm not smart enough to know the answer to that. There's nobody out there that I would really pick.
You made a great point. You're smart enough to say that you want Matt LaFleur gone. So if you want to be that smart, be smart enough to go the next distance. Don't just call in and say, I want him gone, and not have an answer. Because that's the same situation that policy is staring in his face. If I get rid of Matt, who's the guy? You made great points.
I don't have an answer.
I'm asking you to finish.
Yeah, I think that's
all I'm asking.
Jason, I appreciate the phone call, man. I think you do make some good points. That's kind of, this is not a keep Matt LaFleur by default situation. No. Like, I haven't settled on that. But in part of my analysis, I asked the same question. I don't have a good answer on who a better alternative is.
Right.
But that's not the sole reason for keeping, nor should it be the sole reason for keeping a coach. Jason asked the question, what is it about Matt LaFleur? Why are we so drawn to Matt LaFleur? Look, I wrestled with this. And after watching Saturday play out the way it played out, I kind of had to reshape my thinking, like, oh, my God, like, what did I just watch? This is insanity. Like, what happened? And why am I saying this at the end of every year? What happened? At what point is it the coach's fault? At what point is the kicker's fault? The defensive coordinator? It's all collective. And when it's all collective, the arrow usually points at the head coach. Whether that's fair or not, just kind of how things work in the NFL. But here's what I weighed. I weighed 76, 40, and 1 as Matt LaFleur's overall record.
Yes.
And I had somebody bark back and say, yeah, but without Rodgers and with Jordan Love, they're just a tick above 500. Now, let me answer that.
Yeah.
Let me address that component of it. Because in year number 1 with Jordan Love, keep in mind, this was after Rodgers' final year, in which they didn't make the playoffs at all, they were way ahead of schedule. They were ahead of expectations internally, to the point where they let their kicker go in Mason Crosby, and were the youngest team in the NFL, and that looked like a stroke of genius coaching for Matt LaFleur. It really did. And that was the playoff game they won as underdogs going into Dallas. And then they were 11-5, had the 5th best record in football in year number 2 with Jordan Love playing quarterback. This year, admittedly, feels very odd to me because you started fast, you had all the momentum in the world, you looked physical, you looked fast, everything was humming, weird clunky loss to Cleveland. Okay, but it felt at the time like it was going to be a blip on the radar. You know, the tie was one of those wacky games in the NFL, but things started to go downhill. So I look at 2 of the 3 years with Love, all 3 years being playoff years, by the way, and I saw way ahead of expectations, way ahead of schedule, improved by 2 wins to go 11-5 in a historically good year for the NFC North, and then this sort of oddball year where it did look like the team had addressed some of its defaults on defense, and we're putting it together with a quarterback that was kind of emerging into a someone who was in that MVP discussion. He was third in MVP odds toward the end of the year. So I netted on that. I like the system. I believe in the system. I believe it's a coveted system. I don't have a good answer on who's a better replacement for Matt LaFleur. And I think players like playing for him in Green Bay. So I'm putting all that stuff into the hopper in netting my result. And my thought is that Matt LaFleur should be back.
Yeah, 100%. Agree. And I think what the organization, and I hope I didn't scare anybody callers off on just here. But,
I still got a couple more.
Okay, good. I don't want to scare you. But I think what needs to happen, and I agree with you, Greg, is and that's what I said earlier, it's not just Matt LaFleur. I think it's an organizational failure. I think the organization have to self-examine itself on how to proceed and give Matt LaFleur more help. Matt LaFleur's got to give himself more help. Now, I think there's going to be some guys that don't come back, coaches, because of this. I think the coaching staff needs to get better. I think Matt LaFleur probably needs to lean on his coaches a little bit more. But I think this is a failure within the organization. Now, I don't know what the contract's going to be. I don't know how that's going to work out. But I don't know if I'm willing to give Matt LaFleur a 5-year deal either, right? Because there's some things I think he needs to prove that if he can get it right, and we're going to give you the resources to help you get it right.
800-990-3776. We got Todd and Dale on the line right now. We'll get you guys coming out of the break here. Plenty of comments streaming in on our YouTube page as well. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. We'll continue after this.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN. Break down all the lines, the locks, and the long shots with a weekly wager.
If anyone bets the Seahawks plus 375, they're crazy. In no way, shape, or form will Sam Darnold be holding up the Lombardi at the end of the year.
With Josh DiMaggio and Ben Brust.
I think this is a Jordan Love performance. We're all started talking about it at the end of the day.
Tune in Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Evan Cohen.
Congratulations to the University of Miami and their quarterback, Carson Beck, on the huge win against Ole Miss, 31-27, advancing them to the national championship game. And let me congratulate all of those that said I was wrong, because you were right. Not wrong about the Canes. I thought they could do this, but wrong about their quarterback, Carson Beck, a seventh-year senior who spent the previous 6 years in Athens with the Georgia Bulldogs. I did not think it was the right move for the University of Miami to go out and get him as their starting quarterback. I didn't think he could do what he has now done, and that is take this team in a game management mode to the national championship game. I look at game management as a positive, but he managed the game beautifully last night, especially on that final drive. Down points late in the game. He leads a 15-play drive where he runs in for a touchdown to win the semifinal against Ole Miss, and he had not had a rushing touchdown since week 3. Carson Beck, you are almost a national champion, and I am wrong. Speaking of champions, let's discuss one in 60 seconds.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the relief hotline at 800-606-8737. 800-606-8737. 800-606-8737.
On the Friday edition of Unsportsmanlike, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, we asked the question as to which player and or team has the most to gain by winning it all this year in the NFL. And oddly enough, a team we have talked about all season long has actually gotten a little quieter recently. That team are the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. We do remember they won it all a year ago, right? We do remember that Nick Sirianni quieted the critics, and so did Jalen Hurts by winning it all. It is clear to me that the two people that have the most to gain in the NFL this postseason are those two, coach and quarterback in Philadelphia. You can hate on them all you want. You could think that Sirianni should be replaced by Harbaugh and that Jalen Hurts is not a big-time quarterback. But if they win again, if they win back-to-back, if they go 2 in a row with those two guys, you could hate on them, but you're going to have to do so in Canton, Ohio. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Evan Cohen.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. It's not just a slogan, but the way of life at Gruber Law Offices. If you've been injured, call our team today. We've represented tens of thousands of injured Wisconsinites for more than 30 years. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
I mean, this is one of one. I love this place. I love the people. I love our players, the locker room, everybody in our organization. I mean, this is a unique place. It's a special place. My kids love it here. My family loves it here.
800-990-3776. We round out the hour with Todd in Green Bay. Thanks for holding, Todd. You're on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Yes, I believe that LaFleur should be back. I'll tell you, Gutekunst didn't have a good free agency, did he? We needed help in the secondary, and he goes and gets Hobbs, overpaid. He goes and gets Banks. We had a left guard, a Pro Bowl left guard, and we moved him to center. Okay, so he's got some answers to talk to the president with. But going back to the game, before the game started, we had discussions on this radio station about Love being pressured. And when he gets pressured, he gets nervous. Okay? And that's exactly what happened in the second half. You have to have solutions. Now, going back to LaFleur, you have to have solutions because of that. You have to have a running back that can catch a ball, which you do. And you underuse him all year. He had 36 receptions, 44 targets, 7.8 average. The year before he had 9.5 average. You need outlets. If your quarterback gets nervous, he needs to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Receivers, they should have went to empty backfield. There were solutions in that game that LaFleur dropped. Cannot do that moving forward. I believe he's a great coach. I think he has a genius of a mind, but he needs to utilize the players on the field.
Appreciate the phone call, Todd. Watching the game play out, it was like all shotgun in the second half, right? It was a ton of shotgun. Not much play action. The Bears were dialing up their pressure. But what stood out to me is it felt like everything was downfield, either deep downfield or 10 yards plus, right? It felt like that across the middle, that, just blitz is coming, let's get it 5 yard across the middle. And look, this is me watching on my TV screen. I don't know what he's seeing. I haven't seen the all 22. But I just made a mental note watching the game. Wow, they're taking a lot of shots here as they were operating primarily out of shotgun in that second half.
Here's what I saw, and I didn't see it a second time because I didn't want to see it anymore. The first time was enough for me. Second half, they heavy blitzed them a lot. They brought a lot of guys. The offensive line was horrible in that they couldn't pick up the blitz. They didn't know how to pass anybody off. They didn't know who was coming. They did not know anything, which was somebody should have picked that up. Somebody would be the offensive line coach, the offensive coordinator. They just didn't have a game plan for what the Bears were giving them in the second half on how to block this thing up. It should have been easy. It should have been relatively easy. But the O-line, which I thought, Greg, has been a problem all year long. And he's right. And I said this before. He's right. The first mistake was with Elton Jenkins, moving him to center. And I know you didn't like the center that you had last year, but you might have should have paid him, because that was the monumental effect of why your offensive line was as bad as it was from day one. You look at Josh Jacobs, did not have the year that he had the year before because your offensive line wasn't very good. And then it was like you're piecemealing that thing together, and you just can't do that for 17 games. That's pretty much what it was. Now, Zach Tom, I think, who's your best offensive lineman, did he miss like 7 games this year?
Yeah,
a lot.
Right, and you're looking at potential surgery here in the offseason.
Right.
Like he was not close to being able to play yesterday.
That hurt you tremendously. And then now Anthony Belton was supposed to be a right tackle, but now he's a right guard. You plug him in there, fine. Jenkins goes out. Sean Ryan is now your center, but he wasn't going to be, so now he's there. And then Banks was hurt early on, but then you moved him in, and there was Jordan Morgan. He was somewhere in there, and then you got, is it Kennard? Kennard was in there somewhere.
Well, he was also a backup tight end.
Right, and you got Walker was out. And so there was just 2. And then all of a sudden, Sean Ryan goes out of the game yesterday. I'm thinking it's going to be Monk, and it's some guy named Lucidus. Never heard of him.
I think that is a book in the Bible. Lucidus, isn't it? Lucidus 1:29 through 33. Thou shalt not fire a head coach after a damaging playoff loss. I have to look that up.
Did you
just
go
to be clear.
Brookfield Academy? No.
I wasn't smart enough to go there.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Public school kid here.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Brookfield is Brookfield, man. It's all the same. But anywho, the line was a huge problem from them from the get-go, and it reared its ugly head in this last game.
No doubt about that. That was kind of an issue all season long, as you pointed. I felt like
St. George Viney's. Did you?
No, not there either.
Did you go St. George Viney?
No.
Right there by the library.
I know where it is.
By the library.
I drove by it many times.
Right by the
played
plaza,
in the football league
right by
with
the
some kids
plaza,
there.
right by the plaza.
Nice kids, yeah. By the old Ruby Isle.
Ruby Isle.
Yeah, that's different now. Much different now. Much different. But hey, at that time when I was growing up, the Packers were still suffering damaging losses in the postseason.
They were.
Because they've been doing it for 40 years.
40 years.
Which is insanity. And prior to that, they just weren't even in the playoffs.
Right.
I don't know if that was any better, but geez.
Well, no. What year was that? You were in high school, Greg. What year was that?
96 is when I graduated.
Okay,
so 92, I got there when Reggie.
No,
I got there when Favre, Reggie.
Yeah,
that was
the heyday.
That was heating up. We broke into school, whatever was going on in school, to say that Reggie White was signing with the Green Bay Packers. I remember that. I was like, what? This is insane. What is free agency, by the way? That was kind of a new concept back in the NFL.
We can go to another team.
Well, the internet didn't exist either, so we were doing a lot of things different that time. We've got plenty more to get to here. If you'd like to join us here, we'd love to have you at 800-990-3776. We'll have a second hour of the program. Do want to look ahead at some of the other playoff matchups, which are solid and in stone. Most of them are set. The AFC is still a little drama here, about to kick off on a beautiful but winter night in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers taking on a very feisty defensive team here with the Houston Texans. They can do some stuff on offense, too. There should be an interesting game tonight in Pittsburgh. More Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday after this.
Can you feel it? It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating 3. Yeah, you know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxe seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. Become a legend at Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info online. Must be 21 to enter casino.
Something exciting is happening at St. Kate the Arts Hotel. On the second floor, you'll find the Studio Kitchen and Cocktails, Milwaukee's destination for bold flavors, fresh sushi, seasonal entrees, and cocktails crafted with care. Start your day with a breakfast that fuels you, stop in for dinner that sparks conversation, or linger late into the evening with drinks designed to inspire. With flavors and drinks for every mood, the Studio is the perfect place to gather, celebrate, and connect. Be boldly social. The Studio Kitchen and Cocktails, now on the second floor at St. Kate the Arts Hotel.
This is Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, letting you know that Siding Unlimited installs Pella windows and doors. That's right, Siding Unlimited installs windows, and we do it really well, earning the prestigious Pella Platinum Premier National Certified Contractor of the Year award 5 times. New windows, our expert team will deliver on a smooth, hassle-free installation, making you feel proud of calling Siding Unlimited for your window project. What's the next step? Call 262-567-4513 or go to sidingunlimited.com.
We love the Packers. We bleed green and gold. And every time our team takes the field, well, it's pure football bliss. If only there was a way to experience that blissful winning feeling every day. At Associated Bank, we've got you with 10% off Lambeau concessions and 15% off Pro Shop merch. All when you get Packers checking from Associated Bank. It's how Packers fans keep winning on game day and every day. Associated Bank, Bank of the Packers. Learn more at associatedbank.com/Packers. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. The game is over.
Love looking. One last gasp. Moving guys around. Fires to the end zone, and it is broken up.
And it's the day after.
Well, obviously, this one is going to hurt for a really, really long time. You know, when you are in complete control of a football game and the script gets flipped in the second half, and it was a lot of self-inflicted things. And we had opportunities to kind of put them away, and we didn't get it done.
Let's react to the game and look ahead. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios. Here's Greg Matzek and Gary Ellerson.
Have to expect there be some level of resolution here with regard to Matt LaFleur's future coming up this week for a number of reasons. Number one, if you're going to move on, time to go, man. It's time to get your off-season plan organized with the person you want. There are interviews to conduct. If you're going to move on from Matt LaFleur, today or tomorrow would be the day to do it. If you're going to sign him to an extension, you guys are going to get to the bargaining table and hammer out a deal to keep him in Green Bay. I don't know how much leverage Matt LaFleur has in that situation. Keep in mind, John Eric Sullivan is in Miami and is the GM of the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel is gone. They've got some interesting offensive talent down there. Matt LaFleur would certainly be an interesting fit in Miami, given the offensive talent they have down there. I don't know the relationship between John Eric Sullivan and Matt LaFleur, but he's certainly in that world down there in Miami, where it's really been all over the place the last few years. You could certainly do a lot worse than Matt LaFleur in Miami, so that becomes kind of an interesting team. Does he belong back in Green Bay, though? That's been the discussion here, really, since the game ended on Saturday night. 800-990-3776, 800-990-3776. Hey, we had one caller, Todd, say he wants LaFleur back. We had one caller, Jason, in Minnesota, say no, it's time for LaFleur to go. However, Jason couldn't come up with a suitable replacement for Matt LaFleur.
Just want him gone.
So, like the Packers on Saturday night, who couldn't finish, Jason couldn't finish.
Sorry,
Don't be
Jason.
like the Packers here. Finish.
Sorry, Jason.
You got to finish. No, Jason, we kid because we care. Appreciate the phone call. I think Matt LaFleur should be back. I'm looking at an overall body of work that does include some playoff losses. It also includes 3 straight trips to the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers as its quarterback. I thought the real defining moments of Matt LaFleur's career would happen post-Aaron Rodgers. And while you certainly can't take away NFC Championship game appearances, 13-3 records, you can't take that away. That's on the resume. And that's a first-time head coach trying to mesh with a Hall of Fame quarterback. Not all that different in age, by the way, when Matt LaFleur took over as head coach. That was not an easy situation, and I think LaFleur handled it very well with a guy who was not easy to handle in Aaron Rodgers. And that wasn't just a default, you do whatever you want to do, Aaron, I'm just going to be over here, good luck, I'll help you wherever I can. No, that was a coach-quarterback relationship that developed because we knew what happened with Aaron Rodgers and the previous coach. That went sour in a hurry with Aaron undermining Mike McCarthy on more than one occasion. But really, the Matt LaFleur story, it kind of hones in on when Jordan Love took over as quarterback. That was a pretty good first year. That was ahead of schedule. And then 11-5. And then this year, which is odd in so many different ways, but the expectation level still remains high with this Packers team, and this should be a coveted job This should be the place you want to stay.
Well, it is. It is a very coveted job, but don't get me wrong. I think Matt LaFleur has options. I don't know how the negotiation is going to work out for Matt LaFleur, but he has options. You talked about Miami, most certainly. I think that could be an option as well. But Atlanta, he came from Atlanta. Isn't Matt Flynn the vice president in Atlanta?
Matt Ryan is taking over a more significant role.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Matt Flynn's doing anything with football anymore.
But if Matt Flynn was there, he'd be shooing. But anyway, is it Matt Ryan? Is he the vice president?
There's thoughts he's taking over a much more significant role in the front office.
And the Falcons would love to have him. So there's options there. Why I'm saying this is, I think it's not a foregone conclusion that they get the negotiations right. The number right now is what I'm hearing. I could be wrong. Is about $20 million per. And now everybody's saying, well, after we saw this game against Matt LaFleur, his value is not what it should be. And I say, no, it's not. Because so many people want these jobs. There's 7 of them open right now. And if they let him go, he's going to be at the top of the heap. It'd be him and Harbaugh.
So are you thinking that the Packers and Matt LaFleur get to the negotiating table and they say, Matt, we'd like to keep you here, and here's what we've laid out for you. It's a 2-year deal. It's a 2-year extension. So 3 years we are committing to you
and I think
in Green Bay.
Have a problem with that.
Here is the number. And they say, thank you. This looks great on paper. Meanwhile, Matt LaFleur's agent says, you know what? I got a guy in line 2 from Miami. You might know him, and I think we should talk to him.
And I got a guy on line 1 that's from Atlanta.
He's in Atlanta, which is also in the South, and you're familiar with Atlanta.
And here's the deal, and I just hate saying this, and here's the deal. In Miami and in Atlanta, you won't be under that much pressure.
I have a note here on the YouTube page saying
you'll be able to get all your money. Because if I'm having this discussion with Matt LaFleur, and that will be and that will be policy, is that we got to get this right quick, right? This has got to be done within 2 years. We're looking at Super Bowl for sure in 2 years. If it's going to happen in 2 years, he's looking for another job.
Now, keep in mind, Matt LaFleur is under contract.
For 1 year.
Right, he is under contract. So he had a note on the YouTube page saying, there is no leverage in contract negotiations. Now, I think there is, but I think it's also interesting to point out that Matt LaFleur has a year left on his contract. Is there a potential trade scenario that all of a sudden you get your first-round draft pick back and, maybe Mike McDaniel becomes your head coach? Absolutely. I don't know, right? I'm just thinking out of the box here.
No, absolutely, 100%. All that.
But to suggest that if Matt LaFleur thinks it might be better for him somewhere else with more guaranteed security, I don't know. But it could happen.
It could.
It could definitely happen.
It could.
And simultaneously, it could be that Ed Policy does want Matt LaFleur back. Mm-hmm. That is not out of the realm of possibility.
You could lose.
But he's under contract. So
you could use Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley at the same time.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know that Haf wants to do another year as a defensive coordinator unless it's in Green Bay. I don't know that for sure. Anybody coming to Green Bay as the next head coach, if it's different than Matt LaFleur, I think they would love to have a guy like Jeff Hafley. But the question is, how long do you have a guy like Jeff Hafley? So it becomes an interesting part of the discussion here. Let's go back to the phones here. We've got Alan in Milwaukee. You're on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Thanks for holding, Alan.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Good, man. What's it got?
First, just to answer something you guys just said before I get to my point. I would let Hafley happily go, and I would bring in Raheem Morris and maybe even Cliff Kingsbury or something like that if I could get them both. Just to be the coordinators under Matt. But right now, I think the division is too tight to where, if you look at it, I think the Vikings had 8 wins and they were last place, and they snuck up on those 8 wins because if you think about it, I think the whole league thought they were like a 2-win team. But come the last week of the year, they're sitting there with 8 wins. You don't have a whole lot of room to mess around with, trying to find a new coach or a new this or a new that. Because you saw what happened with the Lions. They tried to do that thing, and they ended up in 3rd place. They ended up in 3rd place. So you don't have a whole lot of wiggle room for experimenting and maybe even replacing the coach. So you might be stuck with Matt whether you want to or not. But I would definitely put more at the feet of Goody because – a lot of people on these airwaves didn't want to give the Bears, any credit for this year. But the one thing I'll give them definite credit on is they didn't mess around, pussyfooting around when it came to fixing the weaknesses from last year to this year. You know, I think if I'm wrong, I think they brought in like 6 offensive linemen this year. So it was basically through hell or high water, they were going to fix that offensive line. And they did. You know, last year I think they gave up like 70 sacks. This year they gave up less than 30.
Yes.
So, you know, when you look at, you know, doing the same thing over and over again, it's Goody doing the same thing over and over again and how he's team building. And that's kind of where we're stuck in the mud because, you know, these other teams that are going further, you know, they're going for it. They're rolling the dice. They're going all in major ways. Philadelphia has been to 3 Super Bowls in 15 years. We've been to, you know, now 2010 is beyond us. So now we've been to 0 in the last 15 years. So you got to put more at Goody's feet on this thing.
So the Vikings officially finished third in the division.
Right,
The
so
Lions
for you-
officially last. So the Lions are going to have a last place schedule and instantly next year, Gary, be the team that everybody looks at and say they're going to play a last place schedule.
They're going to be better.
That team's on pace for 12 wins.
Well,
next
they got to
year.
get.
Nobody would be surprised.
They got, like he said, they got to get an offensive coordinator. But for you, is our caller still there? Okay,
Alan
he's
is
gone.
dropped.
So I agree with you, but I still think Minnesota's got problems. I don't think McCarthy is the guy, so they got to go find a quarterback. Dan Campbell is not an offensive coordinator, so they need to go find an offensive coordinator. And I don't think he's trusted defense coordinator, so they may need both all over again. Agreed. That's the same thing that happened to Philadelphia. The couple of years that they went to the Super Bowls, they had to get rid. Well, didn't get rid of, but their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator left, and they had to circle back and and do something different. And he's right. We don't have time to try some guy that we don't know what this guy is, and he doesn't have a relationship with Jordan Love, and you got to start that process all over again. You get caught up. I just think for me, if it's going to happen, the conversation with Matt LaFleur, to me, is got to be surrounding maybe a 2 or 3 year deal, and we got to get it done. Whether Matt LaFleur accepts that or not, that's on him, because most certainly he can go somewhere else, say Miami, say Atlanta, and it's going to be 5 year deal, and it's going to be 5 years for the whole time.
But the Packers would not fire him.
No.
So hear me out, right? If a deal is presented and Matt says, well, I got something a little better going on in Miami, it's like, okay, well, cool, have your conversation. The Packers have a choice.
Yes.
You can match it, right? We'll keep you here, right? I mean, if Matt LaFleur really wants to be in Green Bay, the Packers could make that an option.
Yes.
Or they could say, all right, we'll grant a trade.
Yes.
But he is still under contract. He is not becoming a free agent here when the new league year begins.
Yeah. I don't think the Packers do business like that. I mean,
I don't think they do either.
Business like we'll bring you back on a 1 year deal or not. I don't think they're, because policy talks about I don't want a lame duck. So I think you're right. If they can't come to an agreement, some other team wants him, I think they're going to have to give up a draft pick to get him. You're 100% right.
Let's grab Thomas in Manitowoc. Thanks for holding, Thomas. You're on 94.5 ESPN.
All right, for first-time callers, what's up, guys?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Been a long time coming. The last call just took the thunder from me because I was going to go after going Goose myself, because the first thing you do when you start a team, you start with the offensive line. And the first thing of the year, it did not start good at all because they were trying to move guys around, not have guys in natural positions, trying to put Moose Jenkins out of the guard to do center, and he wanted to be a center. It's all – Goody should get some little fire, too. But I've been all over LaFleur last couple of days. I wanted LaFleur to get fired, too. I was on that boat, but everybody pulled me back in, like, look, wait a minute. You know, had to look at other stuff, and you're right. The offensive line was not right at all to the get-go. And I think that when LaFleur comes back, they got to fix the offensive line first. That got to be fixed. And then they got to find somebody that can get that defense better with, those cornerbacks has not been good at all. They've been leaving guys wide open. Linebackers have been shaky a little bit. But Cooper got hurt, and then just Quay Walker, he just don't really cover very well. But overall, I think that Josh Jacobs wasn't right at all this whole season, because after he got his knee injury, he was just not right. He was not running right. It just didn't.
Well, he got
right.
beat up. He got beat up. You're right.
Yeah,
because the offensive line. They I mean, you look at that line last year versus this year. There was no holes this year. He got beat up.
It was. It wasn't a hole that off him to go through. I miss Tucker Kraft so much this year after he got hurt. You know, it's been so many injuries. But I can't say the injuries because look at the 49ers right now with their injuries. They still playing well. But this organization, I think the organization problem right now is we're looking like we're living off what we did years ago with Rodgers, and we have to just take that out and we have to do what it is now. Yeah, everybody's upset what Ben Johnson did or all that extra stuff. But the thing is, if we beat them, it would have been another Sunday for us because it's really at that point until now, it's not really a rivalry until your other team start beating you. And now we're start feeling it. Now that the Vikings gonna start getting better. If they get a quarterback, the Lions gonna be back. So like the other caller said, this is no time to wait. Like you gotta make a decision if you want to keep LaFleur or not. I think right now, thinking about it, took me a couple of days to keep LaFleur, but that first thing you gotta fix. It's the offensive line has to be fixed first before you do anything else. Offensive line got to be fixed.
Appreciate the phone call. Thomas calling us from Manitowoc. Appreciate it. First-timer joining us here on the program. We've never taken phone calls on this program, so I guess everybody's a first-timer on this show. But nevertheless, he had a note on the YouTube stream saying, hey, Goody is Matt LaFleur's boss if this caller has forgotten. No, that is not the case. That is not the case, at least not yet. The reporting structure in Green Bay, at least under Mark Murphy, is that Mark Murphy hired Matt LaFleur. Right? And Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst reported to Mark Murphy. Ed Policy could change that. Yeah, he could go back to the old method where not everything routed through him, that you do have a more traditional, I would say, relationship between GM and coach. But that is not how it works right now. That is not the reporting structure in Green Bay, at least not yet.
No, it's not. Let me just say, are we going to go to the break? Do we got to go to the break real quick?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to the break. And I want to tell you, regarding the Chicago Bears, what I need Matt LaFleur to do.
Pro tease there from Gary Ellerson. Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. We continue after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Hi, this is Leanne Womack. I fell in love with country music as a child listening to my dad spin records at a radio station. I always dreamed of hearing my own songs on the radio. I set a goal and achieved it. You can do anything if you set your mind to it. Never let anyone tell you it's impossible. So if you have the chance to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Can you feel it? It's the thrill of witnessing a walk-off grand slam, a game-winning touchdown, a buzzer-beating 3. Yeah, you know the feeling. And there's only one place to experience that raw exhilaration. Potawatomi Sportsbook. Catch all the action in a supreme space with dozens of sports betting kiosks, cool drinks, luxe seating, great food, fiery atmosphere, and a monster video wall. Become a legend at Potawatomi Sportsbook. More info online. Must be 21 to enter casino.
Looking up at the Marquette banners, brought to you by Saganiac Planning. Number 20, Maurice Lucas, retired in 2006. Lucas at Marquette only 2 years, but he was so good. 74 NCAA championship game against NC State, 40 minutes, 21 points, 13 rebounds. In the semi-win over Kansas, 18 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Also, that game-winning shot in a win over Wisconsin that created the legendary post-game photo of the father of 2 Badger players very upset with Al McGuire. For your fellow fanatics and your number 1 fans, for your game day compatriots and your personal cheerleaders, for all the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Support your overall health so you can be your best for those who matter to you most. Call Eric Pearson. Eric Pearson, Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
No look behind the back to Kone, who rises up, throws it down.
Siku Kone and the Milwaukee Panthers men's basketball team take on Oakland this Thursday. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. at Panther Arena. From clutch three-pointers to rim-rattling dunks to game-changing blocks, you'll experience all the action. Ticket prices start at just $23. Help tilt the floor this Thursday at 6. Visit mkepanthers.com for tickets. Panther Athletics for the MKE.
It's a new year, and everyone's talking resolutions. Eat better, move more, give up everything fun. Yeah, Carbliss says you don't have to do that part, because when you reach for a Carbliss, you're choosing a better-for-you cocktail. With 0 carbs, 0 sugar, only 100 calories, and full of flavor, you can stay on track with your New Year's resolutions without having to commit to dry January. Start 2026 with balance, not guilt. Your goals matter, and your fun does too. Carbliss, your New Year's first good decision.
The Milwaukee Weight Loss Program has been able to change the lives of thousands of people with this incredible metabolic reset program. We know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day with no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no counting points or calories, no drugs, no surgery, and no injections with the risk of serious side effects. There's no better time than now to give yourself the gift of a new you in this new year. Schedule your free consultation now by visiting MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
Homer here. I'm starting 2026 off right with Milwaukee Weight Loss. Their team is full of great people who listen to me and my goals through the consultation process. Their program is the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day, and many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. Call for your free weight loss consultation, 262-235-3980, 262-235-3980, or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
It's a kick in the gut, just like it is for every Packer fan out there. But, you got to dust yourself off. And get to work. Roll up your sleeves and get to work. And that started this morning. You come in, and as painful as it was to watch that tape, you watch the tape, and you figure out why things went the way they did. And it's unfortunate, and then you start having conversations after that, and just try to find solutions moving forward.
I think a kick in the gut is officially worse than a punch in the gut. I'm going to go with that. I just feel like that's going to be a harder sort of impact on your gut.
Kick in the gut hurts.
Don't feel good.
Yeah.
Right? That's going to sting a little bit.
Yeah.
It's Packers head coach Matt LaFleur wrapping up his press conferences, meeting with the members of the media yesterday, locker clear out today. Plenty of players for Matt LaFleur staying in Green Bay. We'll hear the comments of Micah Parsons coming up in just a few minutes here. We'll go back to the phone lines here, 800-990-3776. Palmyra's got a guy named Blaine living in it. And Blaine calls us from Palmyra right now. Hi, Blaine.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm going I'd like to go a different approach with this. I think we ought to, instead of being an offensive team, we probably ought to be a defensive team. Get rid of LaFleur.
All right.
Hire Hafley as the head coach. See if we can't get Mike McDaniel to be the offensive coordinator. Thoughts?
Yeah, I like that. I 100% like that. If you're going to go that route, I think that'd be the next best thing if they would go that route. Because you've got to have someone with knowledge. The system will be, I think, pretty similar. And McDaniels may not be a head coach. He may be more of a great offensive coordinator. I mean, yeah, if you're going to move away from him, that sounds pretty good to me. I don't have a problem with that at all, Greg. Do you?
I think it's an interesting outlook because right away when Blaine's saying we got to be more defensive-minded, that defensive-minded head coach should be in Green Bay, I'm thinking to myself that is not the most commonly coveted head coach in today's NFL.
No, not anymore.
It's not, right? I mean, the Bears tried that for years.
Yep.
And it wasn't until Ben Johnson did they have symmetry between quarterback and head coach. They finally have that. They've not had that level of synergy with all the other coaches that they've rolled through, including Matt Eberflus. I mean, they're just terrible in what they did. But I think a guy like Mike McDaniel, if you're going to move off Matt LaFleur, now, again, I am not in the camp of move off Matt LaFleur. It may be that Matt LaFleur would prefer to be in Miami. Maybe that's a richer opportunity. I don't know. I think Matt LaFleur will be back. I think he wants to be back. But like you said, Gary, if Matt LaFleur gets away, maybe your replacement is already in-house. And maybe somebody else with coaching experience at the head coaching level ends up going back to being a coordinator. Maybe that's a perfect fit for Mike McDaniel. I don't know. I like that kind of thought. It's about the only way I can get my mind wrapped around the idea of a defensive-minded head coach being in Green Bay.
Well, we've tried the offensive-minded head coach for how long? And we're just
decades.
coming up short.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Blaine, you're right. Decades.
Yeah.
Decades and decades. I don't know if they...
I get down with that. Thanks for your phone call. Here's what I need for Matt LaFleur to do real quick, right, what we teased. If he's continuing to be the head coach, Greg, I need Matt LaFleur to meet Ben Johnson's energy. Matt LaFleur, I'm speaking to you right now. You figured out that Ben Johnson don't like you. You figured out that he don't like the Green Bay Packers. You don't have to be his friend no more. We're done with that. We're done with the pleasantries. He don't like you. You shouldn't like him. We ain't buddies. He's coming in to kick your tail every single time. I think you know that now. And I want Matt LaFleur still to be himself. I don't want to be outside of that. But the pleasantries are over. I need for Matt just to meet that energy. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes.
That's what I need for him to do. You don't want to shake my hand, I can just give you the old thumbs up from way over here. We ain't got to go through none of that. Stay on over there. And I think your players will also rally around that as well, because they need to meet that energy. Here's what the Bears are trying to do. They're trying to change the way the NFC North has gone. And Matt's been around long enough to know that's what the Lions tried to do. They tried to be the bully, right? And so he's coming in, Ben Johnson, with all this Dan Campbell, eat your kneecaps and all that kind of stuff. Well, Matt's got to meet that, and we're no longer trying to be friends and trying to be cordial moving forward, because the Bears are real. They got a pretty good. And I said this last year, and you heard me say this last year, and most Bear fans don't even remember that I said this because they're so, crazy drunk right now with all the goodness that they got. Caleb Williams is a generational talent. You see it. Will he throw you a couple picks? Yes. But the dude can throw from all angles. This is the best quarterback they've had since.
Ever.
Was Sid Luckman, did he play for the Bears?
Different game, but yes. A different game when he played.
Ever.
He was the best quarterback the Bears have ever had.
Let's go ever. And they've got a defense that give up a ton of points.
And he still ain't fully polished, by the way.
No, he's not. He's not even there, Greg.
Ball was sailing around the field on Saturday night.
That's because he's so emotional. So he's got to get those. But he's not even there. You're not even seeing how good this guy going to be. He's going to be even better than what it is. Then you know who else got to meet the challenge? Jordan Love. Jordan Love got to match that energy. But Love and LaFleur are so even keel. I'm not asking them to be outside themselves, but I'm asking them, I need a little bit more.
I know what you're getting at. Watching the game on Saturday night, Jaden Reed drops a pass that would have set the Packers up. Probably somewhere around the 20-25 yard line with under a minute to go and a timeout, need a touchdown to win. And some people say I think Jaden Reed scores on that if he comes down with the reception.
Yes.
I don't know, because he's kind of stumbling. There's a defender sort of there. He's going to have to do something to shake free of either a swipe at his feet or maybe a push in the back of his leg or butt to get out of bounds or go to the ground. I don't know. I'm not sold that he scores a touchdown there.
Yeah.
But it certainly puts the Packers in a really good spot.
Right.
And that was one of the first times I have ever seen Jordan Love visibly frustrated.
Yes.
We had it. That was the play. Right? And I like it. I'm good with that. He's not demeaning his player. Mm-hmm. He's not F-bombing his player. He's not doing the Aaron thing.
No.
It's just different energy. It's just different.
It's different energy.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Meet that energy. That's all I'm asking.
There was a time early in Matt LaFleur's career when his buddies were out in San Francisco doing their San Francisco thing. Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Robert Saleh, they're all having fun. They're having a good time. Before a game in San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, I think LaFleur stayed with his brother out on that particular trip, right? He had a good old family affair. How about that? Best man at his wedding, Robert Saleh. So they could do the whole pregame thing. We're out there, and Fox cameras are out there shooting, showing them all, and kind of dissecting the relationship. Here's how these guys know each other. And Matt LaFleur walked away from that situation, year one as a head coach, That's nice, man. I'm here with my buddy and my guys. And you know what Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan did after that? It's great to see Matt. Let's rip his face off now.
Yeah.
Right? And it was shell-shocking to Matt LaFleur. So I'm with you. I understand that. I think he's still the right coach for this team.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of reasons for optimism with this team. They could not overcome significant injuries. Special teams remains a complete disaster aside of their punting game. Stuff needs to get figured out.
Right.
But in this division, you better be able to figure it out.
You got to bring it.
That's it.
They're not your friends, man.
It's just like no real bottom feeders here when you're talking about everybody above 500.
I'm interested to see the Rams are going to be playing the Bears. I'm interested to see the Ben Johnson greeting to McVay. What that going to look like. Because if you run up on McVay, he might hit you. I just want – he's got that extra medium shirt on.
Well, you know that.
And he lifts, like 500-600 pounds before the game.
Sleeves optional.
So he can be extra swole. So I want to see Ben Johnson run up on McVay, see what that looks like.
For the second consecutive week, the Bears are home underdogs in a playoff game. That tells you what the world thinks of the Bears, but they keep making believers out of those who don't believe in them. And better than any team in the league, they have found a way to get off the doormat and pull themselves to a victory. That they deserve credit for. Still a flawed team, right?
Still
Matthew Golden's touchdown, out of 5 Bears run into each other, and he gets to the end zone. I do want to talk about Matthew Golden a little bit coming up on the other side. 800-990-3776 if you'd like to join us here. About a half hour left in the program. It's Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, and it's Monday.
Back with more on the Green and Gold after this on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
St. Anne's Center for Intergenerational Care switched from a previous vendor to business technology from James Imaging Systems. Why? CFO Sally Parente.
The service, the value, and the ease with which we can just keep using their service and not having any big headaches. It's not just all about the money. We're getting value here as well.
Robert Prang, CIO with Tri-City National Bank, likes the fact that James Imaging is local.
So being able to work with a local company like James that has that flexibility with their staff and being able to deliver for us has given us the ability to make the right decisions for our organization.
And Junior Achievement of Wisconsin VP of Enterprise Services, Lori Salzman, had this advice for others.
If anybody is looking for a good partner that is there to help find solutions, call James Imaging.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Visit jamesimaging.com.
Well, it's January, which means routines are back, but the sports action never slows down. Big football matchups, playoff intensity every weekend, and elite hoops almost every night. And when there's this much going on, it always feels good to be right, especially on Prize Picks. Mark Tauscher here, and Prize Picks is daily fantasy made simple. Pick at least 2 player projections, choose more or less, and you're done. No drafts, no waiting. I'm talking lineups you can make in under a minute. And now there's a new feature I love, early payouts. If your lineup starts hot, you can have the option to cash out before the game even finishes. And plus, with stacks, you can pick the same player up to 3 times in one lineup, points, assists, and threes all together, only on Prize Picks. Deposits and withdrawals, they're fast and easy, available in all 50 states. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code WI to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code WI to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Kessler's has diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers.
When you see the size of the diamond you can afford when you look at our high-tech newborn created diamonds,
you're going to be happy, happy, happy.
And with approved credit, our financing plans make anything possible.
Our selection of engagement rings is beyond compare.
And our custom design department can modify any ring in any way you choose.
Anyone who says they can give you a better ring
or a better diamond
or a better price
has never been to Kessler's.
And our miraculous no small print warranty says,
if you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
Yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate,
we've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
You're listening to Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
My sole focus is just trying to find solutions to some of our issues and why things went awry yesterday. And, it's disappointing. I'm as disappointed, obviously, as all you guys, as our fans, as everybody in our organization, because we had plenty of opportunities to slam the door shut and we didn't get it done.
Yeah, the word awry is never one you want heard from your coach during a post-game press conference. That was the case for Matt LaFleur, as the Packers allowed 25 points. You could say the Bears scored 25 points if you want, which is also accurate. The Packers allowed 25 points, simultaneously accurate in just a fourth-quarter collapse for the ages Saturday night at Soldier Field. Austin is in Waukesha, hanging on the line for us. Appreciate you holding, Austin. You're on Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday.
Hey, guys, Gary, Greg, love listening to you. Not going to be that Bears fan, although I am one. I have a take on Matt LaFleur and Matthew Golden in that case, too. I think Chewy said it this morning. LaFleur needs more support around him. You can't have guys like Adam Stenavich making comments the way he did about Matthew Golden this week, and then look at what Matthew Golden does when he's on the field. And, I mean, did the guy even drop a ball this year and the opportunities he had? But the reason being is I think LaFleur, as the head coach and play caller, has his mind, on play calling so much, he loses track of things like special teams, getting guys like Matthew Golden out onto the field in the right position. So I think you bring on an offensive genius alongside another offensive genius, bring on Mike McDaniel maybe as your OC, take the pressure off LaFleur and see what he can do then. Lastly, I will have a Bears comment. I think Packers fans have way too much hate for any Bears fans to really, really see the talent that Caleb Williams is. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate the phone call. I'm with you, and there are clips from our previous shows, and going back to I think the first matchup with the Bears this regular season, because a lot of people were discussing at that point the Bears were catching some fire and they were playing well. Packers were right around the time of their demise here and falling out of the division race. But, Caleb Williams makes the very difficult at times look easy. And it is a remarkable trait. In fact, it's a coveted trait in an NFL quarterback. And occasionally, he kind of misses a layup. You know what I mean? Like you see that as well, where it's like he's in the pocket, he just sort of slings one.
He's erratic.
It's like, well, how did he not? And I get it, that happens in the NFL, but I'd much rather have that guy who can make something out of absolutely nothing than the guy who can only stand back behind center out of shotgun or play action like a Jared Goff and just sort of, throw good passes, right? He can lead you to some wins. But give me the guy with the special traits who can also drop it in a bucket from an odd angle, weird platform, the rush is coming, I got to elude, and can also use his legs. He's a marvelous talent. And I think he'll only get better, and there's finally symmetry with the coach and quarterback in Chicago. I don't remember that ever happening, really, in my lifetime watching NFL football. Jordan Love, I think, is a little bit more polished than Caleb Williams right now, and Jordan Love's stat line would tell you that he had the better game than Caleb Williams. But when the money was on the line, Caleb Williams delivered, I think, more so than the results indicate Jordan Love did. I would also argue that Caleb Williams' receivers hauled in everything that was thrown in their direction when the Bears were making their comeback. Packers dropped a couple passes that I think the receivers would say they should have had. That all factors into it. These are both remarkably talented quarterbacks. Remarkably talented. And they should be in this division for a long time. These will be the quarterbacks of the division moving forward.
There's a reason why Caleb Williams is number 1 pick. Well, they don't always get it right, but if you saw the kid play in college, he's making the same throws he made in college that he's making right now in the league. Everybody was talking about Jaden Daniels last year, and I like him a lot. But I said, but you got to go watch Caleb and just watch him make some of the throws. Now, he was so erratic last year. He got the crap beat out of him because the offensive line was bad. Was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's a generational talent. I said that last year, so I don't know where Austin and I haven't really heard any Packer fans say anything bad about Caleb. He is a generational talent. Now, it took them for the better part of being in Bears' existence to get that guy. So if anybody knows what that quarterback looks like, it should be Packer fans, because we had at least 2 of them. The guy's good.
The thoughts on Matthew Golden, I think, are interesting. I didn't really know what Steno was doing either when he kind of had his thoughts on Matthew Golden. Look, rookie receivers in the NFL, I don't care what round you take it in. Some explode, some pop off, but historically in Packers land, they have not really had standout years, but there have been standout moments. I would say there were standout moments for Randall Cobb. There were standout moments for Devontae Adams, including a playoff game against Dallas and toward the back half of the season in a win over the New England Patriots. He showed up. He popped off. He was an emerging threat. And then what happened year 2 after Jordy got hurt? People wanted Devontae cut because he wasn't all of a sudden the number 1 wide receiver, and neither was James Jones for that matter. So I do think wide receivers, by and large, going to take a minute to get sorted out. Now, I don't care if you're a first-round pick or if you're a second-round pick. The Packers' second-round picks of recent mind are also going to be Packers Hall of Famers. But what he did on Saturday night, Gary, hear me out on this. The touchdown was miraculous. It was also a terrible display of tackling by the Chicago Bears. But I felt a kind of hunger. I'm going to get in that end zone, right? There was something he wanted in, and he was not going down without getting in. Simultaneously, the Bears were awful in trying to bring him to the ground. But the plays that stood out to me were the outbreakers. The 10-yard out when the game is on the line, it's 4th down, and Jordan's coming your way. And it was a shot on 3rd down on the other side to convert a 1st down. Like, those are the routes he needs to win if Romeo Doubs is not part of this team next year. Somebody has to win those routes. And it can't always be Christian Watson. And it can't always be Dontavian Wicks, who is struggling to stay healthy. He was winning those on Saturday night. I know it's a glimpse, and it's a game. It's way better than the alternative, but it was a sign of his maturation. He was winning in different ways on Saturday. So to me, that's encouraging for what I think is a developing and really bright young talent for the Packers.
I don't know what the Packers are doing with him. And it's whatever it is, it's awful. He did the same thing in preseason, Greg. He was the best receiver on the field in preseason. You saw it. Went to come to practice. No one could guard this dude in preseason, in practice. And Bo Melton, I love Bo Melton, but why we got to play Bo Melton on offense and defense? Was that dude that bad? Because that's what they were doing. I don't get it. What point are we trying to prove? Put the dude out there. And I'm not saying he doesn't know the offense or anything, but you got to figure out how to get that dude the ball. I once played with a guy that was so good that although he couldn't really comprehend the offense, but the coaches had to figure out how to get him to comprehend the offense.
John Jefferson?
I'm not saying who he was.
Okay.
I'm not calling no names.
Blink your eyes if it was John Jefferson.
But what we end up doing is, because he couldn't learn the plays and which way the play was going with the numbers and all that kind of thing, then we just had to say, we going right and we going left.
His first name rhyme with John.
And then he said, I don't know my right from the left. Then what we had to do, we had to point to the way that we had to go. Figure it out, people.
Was his last name the same as the third president of the United States?
I'm not calling no names.
Maybe fourth.
I'm just saying to coaches, if you got a guy that good, figure it out. Make it work. That's your job. Why we got to make it so hard? If the dude is good, you got to work with that dude somehow, way get it to him and make him figure it out. If we got a guy that don't know his right from the left, we had to actually point to the hole to go to.
John Jefferson?
I'm not calling no names. It could be in high school.
800-990-3776. If you'd like to join us here, we'll round out the program. You got to make it work. Bright future, yes.
But that's for everything, right? If you're the boss and if you got somebody that has special talent, your job is to try to figure out then how to rise this person up and how to make it right for him. Don't put him in a box. You have to think outside the box at times to get what you want.
We will wrap up the program with some final thoughts coming up on the other side. A little look ahead to the divisional round. You did great. You did great. You out of gas. We'll try and tee up some of the matchups here in the postseason, which continues with the divisional round this weekend. Where they got games starting on Wednesday now? I don't even know. Can't even keep track of the schedule. We'll get it all sorted out. We'll wrap up the program from Potawatomi Sportsbook after this.
More football talk coming up next. This is Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday. Break down all the lines, the locks, and the long shots with a weekly wager.
If anyone bets the Seahawks plus 375, they're crazy. In no way, shape, or form will Sam Darnold be holding up the Lombardi at the end of the year.
With Josh DiMaggio and Ben Brust.
I think this is a Jordan Love performance. We're all started talking about it at the end of the day.
Tune in Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook on 94.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-240-2298. That's 414-240-2298. 414-240-2298.
Looking up at the Marquette banners, brought to you by Saganiac Planning. Number 24, retired, honoring George Thompson. Too bad he didn't wear 40. He was Marquette's all-time leading scorer for 40 years, and he played only 3 seasons. Al McGuire said it best. Everything at Marquette changed after George Thompson, a high school superstar in the New York City area, came here. And years later, Shaka Smart added, for those that weren't around in 1969, George Thompson, the original Dwayne Wade. Your business is unique, and your health plan should be too. At United Healthcare, our group health plans are built for you and your employees. Whether you're running a small startup or managing a large enterprise, we offer solutions designed to fit your needs, your goals, and your budget. Explore your options today at uhc.com/Wisconsin. Insurance coverage provided by or through United Healthcare Insurance Company or its affiliates. Administrative services provided by United Healthcare Services, Inc. or their affiliates. Health plan coverage provided by or through United Healthcare of Wisconsin, Inc.
Hey Tom, I want a new hoop for the kids. Any ideas?
Yeah, I got mine from Precision Sports over 10 years ago. They helped me choose the right hoop, installed it, and even painted my court lines.
Nice. How do I reach them?
Easy. PrecisionSportsOnline.com for a free quote.
Your New Year routine just got a major refresh thanks to Carbliss. Staying mindful, Carbliss has 0 sugar and 0 carbs. Watching calories? We've got you covered. Still want something bold and delicious? Well, that's our specialty at Carbliss. Whether you're out celebrating or settling into post-holiday goals, Carbliss keeps things light, fun, and completely guilt-free. Start your 2026 with flavor and no compromise. Celebrate the new year with bold flavor, 0 guilt, and a drink that keeps things light. Happy New Year from Carbliss. Let's make your new year feel flawless.
You live for this. The wins, the losses, the slam dunks, and the buzzer beaters. The dream that this is your team's year. Hope It's what keeps you coming back. So you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when everything's on the line, your support means everything. That's why the NBA Store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. Visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
We're back with Potawatomi Sportsbook Football Monday, live from the Potawatomi Sportsbook Studios on 94.5 ESPN.
That's our final show here at Potawatomi Sportsbook, but get down here yourself. Watch the playoffs. Watch really any game you're looking to watch here at Potawatomi Sportsbook. That 2,000 square foot video wall is nothing like it. The award-winning Potawatomi Sportsbook, they're going to be right for the picking here throughout the rest of the playoffs. Into whatever season you want to watch and be a part of, do it here at the Sportsbook. Great food, great people. And a really special thanks to Haley and all of our wonderful staff here at Potawatomi Sportsbook for making our nights so wonderful. They roll out the red carpet for us. They'll do the same for you as well. And unfortunately, it's going to be until September until we're back doing these shows again. But it is what it is here as the Packers try and find a way forward with the first big decision for Ed Policy regarding the head coach. And it does appear with ESPN Adam Schefter's reporting this morning that the Packers and Matt LaFleur will work towards a deal. What does that exactly mean? I don't know. How many years, terms, all that kind of stuff? Is there interest from other teams in Matt LaFleur? Could there be a trade in the works if it gets to that point? I guess it's all possible. My gut feeling, Gary, says Matt LaFleur will be back in coaching for the Green Bay Packers next year. But that is not a 100% certainty that it's going to happen. And there is better than a non-zero chance he is not back with the Packers.
Yeah, you just don't know. And with negotiations, you never know how they're going to work out. And, the Packers have had a long history of negotiations where they just don't work out. Next thing you know, people are gone. And you made a great point earlier. He has a year left on his contract, but they're not going to bring him back on a one-year deal. Policy's already said, I don't want a lame duck coach in my building. So they either he's going to be here or somewhere else. But if I'm the Packers, I don't know if I do more than a 3-year deal. And it's almost like a prove-it deal because I think the players are in place, but I think he needs help surrounding him. I think the organization as a whole needs to take some blame for some of the stuff that has happened and the reason why they lost some of these games. I think they all need to get on the same page. And most certainly special teams wasn't very good, right? Defense without Micah Parsons wasn't very good. Offensively, you threw away games that you should not have thrown away.
In the NFC, the playoff picture looks like this. Seahawks and 49ers in a rematch of the final week of the regular season, which Seattle really controlled San Francisco. That game was in Seattle. This weekend's game will also be in Seattle, where the Seahawks are favored by 7. Well, you want to talk about coaching and coaching staffs that have done a remarkable job. I think Kyle Shanahan's team and staff has had a fantastic season. They've got some real injury issues they've battled through. And we're a win away from being the number 1 seed here in the NFC. And then you've got an intriguing matchup between the Bears and Rams. I think the Rams are a sneaky good defense here with an offense that is very difficult to stop.
Yeah.
For all the things the Bears did well, it took better than a half of football to get defense sort of figured out. And that's with a Sean McVay offense that is similar in concept and principle as Matt LaFleur's, with more polished weapons, I would even say.
Yeah.
So this becomes a situation where the Rams are favored by 3.5. So the second consecutive week, the Bears are home underdogs, which I guess if you've watched the Bears at all this season, you'd say they're very comfortable with that, right?
Oh, yeah,
that's not going to bother them in any way, shape, or form.
That way. Yeah, they play well that way.
In the AFC, one of the two matchups has been determined. It'll be Broncos and Bills. Another interesting matchup. The Bills certainly talented enough to be a higher seed than they are. Winning on the road in Jacksonville, not an easy task. They did it yesterday. Patriots awaiting the result of tonight's game between Houston and Pittsburgh. And right now, the Steelers have a 3-0 lead. They're winding up the first quarter.
I'd like to see Josh Allen in the Super Bowl, won't you?
You know, it's so interesting you say that. I do agree, but it also underscores the fact that it is so difficult, even with the best players on the planet on your roster, to reach the Super Bowl. And all the talk about, well, he only won one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. How did that happen? Yeah, Josh Allen hadn't been to a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson hadn't been to a Super Bowl.
Hard to do, bro.
Right? I mean, there's a list of incredibly talented players, great quarterbacks as well, that haven't sniffed it yet. So
hard to do.
I get it. You're used to success here, the quarterback-driven success in Green Bay, great run of success in Green Bay. Not enough breakthroughs. We get close at the NFC Championship game and fall short. I get it. It stings.
Well, in the AFC, you had a generational player.
Well, yeah, I get that too.
And that was Patrick Mahomes.
Well, and prior to that, Tom Brady, right? I mean, there are generational talents everywhere.
Well, certainly in the AFC. I'm just talking about Josh Allen. And that's why when you have those types of quarterbacks to stop you from getting away, and he's nothing to sneeze at. He's a pretty good quarterback, but that's what you got now. So now he's facing all these young guys. He's got to go beat Drake May and all these young kids that are now coming up.
Interesting as always here in the postseason. We're going to wrap up the program here, Gary.
Thank you, buddy.
Man, I appreciate you doing this show each and every year with you. Each and every week is a lot of fun.
Thank you to Haley, who's been very good. Instrumentals getting us in here, getting us set up. Thanks for Maddie Hayes coming down here, putting everything up on our socials. Appreciate her. Where's J-Man? Is J-Man in here setting up like an hour and a half before he gets here, and Jennifer's not here today. She loves all the suites that we have, so thank them for doing, and most certainly thanks to the good people over at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel. Depends on what you want to do first.
Doing it all for us. Chris Larson, our on-site producer, or studio producer,
Absolutely,
I should say.
Chris.
Jason Wilde, a part of this. And honestly, the last couple of years, I've had a lot of fun bringing my dad down to every show. He's like our unofficial show fan, being able to hang out and watch.
Your dad the last time he was here. I don't know if he didn't get the memo last time, why he didn't bring him. Maybe he's up in Egg Harbor.
He told me he had a dinner.
I don't know.
He told me he had a dinner.
Yeah, we got dinner here. What are we doing?
Well, we have a lot of fun in this program, and you make it what it is in truth. And I know we don't take calls a lot of time, but we do see the messages on social media and our YouTube page, and the interaction with our fans, I think, is what really drives us home. Look, sports are emotional. Sports can be painful. Sports are all that. The things that make us feel good at times, the thing that make us want to smash our head against the concrete at times. I get it. But we'll be doing it again next year, and we'll be looking at the draft. We'll be looking at this roster, how it's complected. Whoever is coaching, the Packers are going to have talent, and we'll be talking about the timeline for Micah Parsons, Tucker Kraft, and others to return in what should be another good season. Hopefully it's a fantastic season of Packers football.
Can't wait.
For Gary Ellerson, I'm Greg Matzek signing off here from Potawatomi Sportsbook. Enjoy the rest of your night on ESPN Wisconsin. Amber and Ian coming up next.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's